I see that you've brought something for show and tell.
This is a yo-yo, and I'm not going to attempt, I've only used it once, but it's a sterling silver yo-yo, and it has my initials on it and a monogram, W.H.C., but the C is bigger. And to show you the joy we have in the rectory, I went through a long period when Father Christian was here the first time. The second year that he was here, about 2 years ago, I was going through a long period of deciding, do I retire now? Do I hang in there? What do I, blah, blah, blah. And nobody could, I had to really decide this myself because it's kind of a huge thing.
Yeah.
So one day I would go to the dinner table and they would say, what now? And I would say, well, I'm going to retire. And the next day I would say, I'm going to stay. They got sick of it and they gave me a yo-yo. And the only time I used it was when I enrolled it and hit Father Christian with it.
Yeah, so we're glad to have you here.
Yeah, well, I'm not for long, but maybe another year or so. I'm 78 and a change, and I'll be 79 in February. So 80, if God willing, 80 is it, and maybe sooner. It's just a health thing. Am I impaired physically? Am I, lazy in the parish? Am I not doing my share? And is the parish suffering? So I have to take all that into consideration. And the bishop is very tolerant of me, and we're all getting along well together here. So a little while longer, I would say.
When the day comes and you do decide to retire, do you get to pick your successor?
No way, and that would be the worst thing I could do because the one who wants to come here is the wrong one to come here. The one who wants to be a bishop is the wrong one to be a bishop or pope. When the pope is elected, they, no matter how long the election takes, there's a little room off the Sistine Chapel. It's one of those like mystery movie rooms where there's no door handle, but you push it.
Really?
And it opens, and it goes into a room where he changes his red vestments into his white ones. And somebody has set up the apparel in small, medium, and large, and the shoes and all that, so that, they got the size. When Pope John the 23rd was elected, he was so rotund that they had to do a little stitching and cutting and hemming before he went out on the balcony. But anyway, the little room off the chapel where they changed their clothes is called the Room of Tears, because this man has just accepted the heaviest cross in the world ever. It's no easy thing to be pope. And the same thing when you and anybody who say that he wanted to be pope should not be pope, because there would be arrogance and pride there. And the same thing with being a pastor of a particular parish, not just this one, or a bishop anywhere. It's too proud to say that you want to do that. It's too arrogant. It's better to do your work, keep your head low, just do your thing, do your job, be obedient to the bishop that's been given to you, and let the Holy Spirit do that. So I would never do that. I really, the process is for a small select group of priests to recommend someone to the bishop to be the pastor of the various parishes that will be available, and that for the bishop to make the final decision. And I've worked with that with other bishops, and they generally, they know their priest and they accept the advice of the priest committee, but sometimes they don't, and he's the bishop, and we promised obedience, and you do what you're asked to do.
Yeah.
Better to go and do it as well as you can. If it doesn't work out, you go, well, I didn't ask, because if you ask for it and you mess it up, you got a double cross to carry.
Yeah. You started here as a priest in your first assignment, and we've talked before about, this is now your last assignment. From
the time I was here, in 1969 for 5 years, and from what I can read from the 20 years before that, 1948, 58, 68, 69, and then subsequent, all during the mid-70s, 80s, and 90s, this has been a marvelously engaged parish, especially with the sacraments. When I was here in the early 1970s, Monsignor Miller and I were here together as young priests, and Monsignor Byrne was the pastor. There were 6 masses on Sunday morning. Now figure that out. I've got the old schedule somewhere, but 6 masses. And no fellowship, because you had to get them out in their cars and get the next group in. But those people, and then they were full. I mean, they were full. And they loved the Eucharist, they loved the Mass. It was a duty, and they took that seriously, but they loved being here, and they loved the Sunday Masses. And I think that Monsignor Burns' long tenure, Monsignor Sullivan's, Monsignor Miller, I think all those long, stable tenures and they were all similar in their theology, those three priests. A little different in their liturgy, but their theology of service was the same to these people, and it really built a dynamic parish.